Well, the French and American presidents sat down for talks today at the White House. Afterwards, at a press conference, Joe Biden told reporters that he's not averse to speaking to President Putin.
It's sick what he's doing. But the fact of the matter is, I have no immediate plans to contact Mr. Putin. Mr. Putin is, let me choose my words very carefully. I'm prepared to speak with Mr. Putin if, in fact, there is an interest in him deciding he's looking for a way to end the war. He hasn't done that yet. If that's the case, in consultation with my French and my NATO friends, I'll be happy to sit down with Putin to see what he has in mind. He hasn't done that yet. In the meantime, I think it's absolutely critical what Emmanuel said. We must support the Ukrainian people.
Well, we can join now France 24's Clovis Casales, who is in Washington. Clovis, you were at that press conference, I think. Tell us a bit about what came out of it and what came out of those talks today between Biden and Macron.
Well, first, the French President Emmanuel Macron said that Joe Biden was more than an ally. He had actually become a friend, and he thanked him for that. The two leaders said they had discussed at length the issue of Ukraine, the Ukrainian war, at the heart very much of these discussions. You heard Joe Biden saying he's ready to talk to Putin only if Putin is willing to try to get a peace deal done, and there are no signs of that. That's what US President Joe Biden said. Emmanuel Macron saying that President Zelensky these last few months, these last few years actually, had always wanted peace, was always willing to reach a peace deal, and that was not the case of Vladimir Putin that Macron met in person, of course, just before the war. The French president also saying that he will continue to supply weapons and training and aid to the Ukrainian people in the future. This until war and violence stops, until the Russian aggression stops. And the State Department spokesperson was telling us recently that the US are also committed, of course, to bringing this much needed help to the Ukrainians. Another issue discussed, of course, more of a divisive one, is regarding the Inflation Reduction Act, so trade deals. And here there were no clear announcements during this press conference. But the two leaders conceded the fact that it needs to be mutually beneficial, that allies can't be competing against one another. No announcements regarding exemptions or concessions, which is basically what the French and the Europeans are hoping for. But there will be more talks, it was said, at a European level with a special US-EU task force. President Macron saying results could come in weeks, if not months, regarding that. So a possible source of hope there for the French and the Europeans, who say that these $400 billion or so of tax breaks and subsidies given by the government to US companies are preventing European ones of making business here, and there's no room for competition between allies.
OK, well, that's the business side of things. The two men can relax a little this evening. There is a big state dinner at the White House. Give us a little colour on that. What's on the menu? Who's invited?
Indeed, the emphasis was on politics this morning with this special meeting at the Oval Office between Joe Biden and Emmanuel Macron. Tonight, it will be a lot more relaxed, if you will, with a state dinner taking place here at the White House. Some 300 guests, we're told, will be attending it. US guests and also some French ones, notably from the delegation following Emmanuel Macron. You've got the finance minister, the economy minister, Bruno Le Maire, and you also have filmmaker Claude Lelouch and other figures from the French business world. On the menu, lobster, American caviar, shallot beef, and American wine served in French glasses. This is set to be a lavish dinner to celebrate the friendship between the US and France. France, the oldest ally of the United States, and that's what Washington, the White House, and the Elysee Palace have been telling us in recent days. There are very strong ties, and tonight the state dinner will be a way again to celebrate that friendship. After the dinner, a concert with John Baptiste, a jazzman who was born in Louisiana, where Emmanuel Macron, the French president, will be heading to tomorrow for more of a cultural side to this state visit, the first state visit of the Biden presidency.
OK, well, thanks very much. We'll leave it there. Clovis Casales there talking to us from Washington.